Welcome to Unethical Podcast.
At just 12, these two girls nearly took another classmate's life. Last May, they boarded
A fellow passenger on a Greyhound bus may soon walk the streets of Winnipeg unsupervised, and the decision is causing concern. Vincent is schizophrenic and was found not criminally responsible.
It is a deep, dark dive, and it does involve your past and your present.
My past and my present.
It does.
Uh-oh, that's a little terrifying.
I know.
I know what I've done. I know the things I've done. I know the things I don't tell people.
It's that time you pushed your mom down the stairs. I found the truth.
Oh, you got the exclusive interview with my dad, did you?
Sure did. Yep. Yeah. Just had to call, say I was from Visa. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
someone had stolen his identity, and he gave me everything I asked for. I own your house now.
I would love it right now if you just said, "Welcome, Les," and you just popped up on the top of the Zoom screen right now, ready to give me shit. Give me hell.
Maybe someday. Maybe for the episode 100 roast of Richard Studel, because apparently that's a thing.
Yeah, apparently that's what Virgil wants. You know what? I'll take it.
I bet you would. You'll be like, yeah, attention. Just lay it on me.
Yeah,
Berate me 5 stars.
you berate me all over my face. Oh, you have a feeling I'll be mad over this. You know what? It's gonna be pretty hard to get me mad. To tell you the truth.
I don't know if you'll be mad. I think you might be like, yeah, okay. Like I'm mansplaining it to you or minesplaining it to you.
I do like the sentiment because I can be involved in this conversation. We can talk about it. Is it Brie-X? Are we doing Brie-X?
No.
Okay.
I don't know what that is.
No, it's a good one.
It is not that one. It is much more generalized than that.
It's only me and you today too. This is
It is. That's why I did this.
yeah, it's an intimate episode. Just the two of us.
Just the two of us.
Yeah, the other two are off gallivanting around Christmas things.
Well, Tally went up to meet with Kelly in Fargo. Kelly from the Ruth Finley episode.
Oh yeah, Kelly G.
Kelly G. Yeah.
Kelly G.
I do
Good for her.
believe she went to hang out with her. Christy's all crooked and upside down.
That's what happens, but that's good. That's good. We don't get a chance. You girls do a lot of the bonus episodes. I only did the one with you, so it's good to me and you get to do one. Just me and you. It'll be fun. I'm excited.
Yeah, you get to hang out with the dicks. I hang out over here with the
Chicks.
Unethicalits. Sure.
There you go. We found it. Unethicults.
That'll do.
That'll do. Put it this way, Celeste. I think that whatever you're going to write, I'm going to be happy about it. You can't get me upset. She thinks I'm going to be upset about this for some reason. And maybe I am. You know, maybe I am. Maybe you'll talk about my rat claws, my little baby hands. I don't know. Maybe that'll come up.
I don't. It won't come up. It won't come up. As I said, I just think that you might. I think it'll be good because this is one that you can. So just for context, this episode isn't going to be great as far as the writing side of things. I wrote it in a couple of days because Christy got all crooked and she couldn't host tonight, and it was going to be her episode. So I'm doing the best I can. But
Yeah.
since it's just me and Richard, I wanted to scapegoat Richard as a straight white man as being responsible for the mining problem.
I'm responsible for the mining problem.
As a straight white male, yes, in fact, you are. As a straight white male who is also a miner, you are in fact responsible for the mining problem.
Point of contention. But when you say I'm white, you're referring to the color of my skin.
Let's say no.
Okay, because I was going to say I'm multicolor. I ain't a whitey no more. I got rid of my. That's why I get tattooed, because I don't like being a white cis male.
Ratio to ratio, do you think you are more white than tattooed?
I haven't tattooed my dick yet, so I'm probably more white than most things. But I'm just kidding. It's small.
Like
It's
50%
tiny.
of your body weight. Yeah. Yeah.
It's tiny. It accounts for maybe a third of a percentage. Anyways, I probably about 33% not white anymore.
Cool. And you didn't even have to go to ancestry.com to know that. Look at you go.
Yeah.
Or whatever the fuck, 23andMe.
Yeah, you know what? I always kind of was like, I don't want to do that because it's weird to have your DNA on a database. But all the crimes they're solving with these things, I might do it just to give them my fucking DNA.
I personally would like the option to commit crimes in the future.
Ooh, that's true too. That is true too. I was just thinking like maybe I have an uncle that's a murderer or a rapist that I don't know about, you know?
If we get to like episode like 2000, we can't find any true crime cases and be like, let's see if I'm related to a murderer.
But I mean, what if they're alive and they're like lurking amongst your family at gatherings, having the turkey that you're having? I want to weed those fuckers out. I don't know. I don't think anybody is, and I hope they're not.
Could you imagine how fucking awkward Christmas dinner would be if the FBI bursts in and arrests your uncle because you submitted your DNA to 23andMe? Like, my bad. That was me.
Sorry, bro. I just want to know what percentage Norwegian I was. My fault.
FBI leaves. You sit back down. Whole family's looking at you, and they're like, Richard.
They'd probably be like, thank you. They should be thanking me. I weeded out the psychopath.
You don't know who he killed.
Wow, that's true too. Maybe it was a justified murder. I don't know. Or justified rape. Is that a thing? Is there such thing? No.
Let's say no. I think the official position is going to be no.
Yeah, the unethical, 50% of unethical, I can say for sure, is there's no such thing as justified rape. I can't speak for the other two. I'm going to go on the limb and say they're probably with us, but who knows?
Fair enough.
So as a white man, I'm responsible for the mining problem.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where this goes. I would have to say that I don't know where the problem is, but let's see where this goes.
Mining is problematic as an industry. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Well, I always think it's very amazing whenever I head underground to see what humans will do and what we can accomplish when we want shiny rocks that we bring up, refine into a nice block of shiny rock just to go back underground to some rich guy's vault. It's fucking weird to me. It's crazy, but I mean, they pay good money, so I'll take it.
Well, where was I going with this? Anyway, yeah. So,
here we go. White males cause all problems
Yes.
again. Okay.
White males causing all problems. For this episode, because it's just you and me, I actually thought we'd just talk about the ethics of sort of mining throughout history.
Oh, good. That's fun.
So I figured, you can educate us a little bit on how things have improved since then, since you're right there in the
I will. In fact, I've got lots of opinion on this too, so it's cool.
wicked. So yeah, I've got a huge boner for history lately.
Yeah.
Which will also once again be flashed next week when I host another historical episode. So
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a good one.
yeah.
That's
So
gonna be a good one.
do not call the police on me for flashing my boner at you twice.
Lady boners are the best.
As far as boners go,
Yeah, my favorite ones.
my preferred boner. Yeah, so also because you're here, but this actually was like sort of piqued my interest. I follow this bass singer on social media, very like incredibly wicked talented singer, this guy. And he did a cover of the classic Tennessee Ernie Ford song 16 Tons. I don't know if you know that song.
Never heard of it.
Well, I want to get into the mood, so we're going to listen to it right now, actually. I'm actually going to play you the cover because I find that it's the Tennessee Ernie Ford song is like jazz. I find this one's just a little bit better to get you in the mood for mining.
Oh my god.
People say a man is made out of mud. A poor man's made out of muscle and blood. A muscle and blood and a skin and bones. You've got a mind that's weak and a back that's strong. You load of 16 tons, and what do you get? Another day older and a deeper in debt. Saying, Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store. 'cause I can't go to the company store. Don't you call me 'cause I can't go on my soul to the company store. Come on.
All right, just by listening to that, you're gonna think that's a big old black dude singing, but that is like Fabio. That guy looks like Fabio. That guy's awesome. And the music video, just for anybody else who really cares, is 4 of him sitting backwards on chairs and with mining pickaxes with like a wife beater on. It's fantastic. Yeah, this guy's amazing. He's got a beautiful voice though. That's crazy. Very low.
Yeah, really talented bass singer. That's Jeff Castellucci is his name.
Castellucci.
But I listened to that and I was like, what in the fuck is the company store? Because I didn't know. But I know now. And it is not good.
Okay, I don't even know what that is. So maybe I will. Maybe I know it is something else.
Just like a little bit on mining. As you know, it's a like wicked dangerous profession, even now, with all the safety precautions that are in place.
There's a reason you get paid a lot to go into a dirty hole underground, because you can die, and it's not a joke. And you get paid lots. You don't. That's what it's for, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And like back in the 1880s, as you may have guessed, listener, not a whole lot as far as employee safety, aside from like some 2x4s holding up dirt walls and a dead canary or two.
Yeah.
So Richard probably knows this fun piece of mining history. What are canaries for?
To go test actually NO levels, nitrous oxide levels in the deeper, darker parts of the. After you blast, it leaves gases, and they want to see if the gas is cleared. And they didn't have proper ventilation back then, so they would just send a canary in. And if the canary didn't come back, that means it probably died from the gas. If it came back, that means it's probably good to go. That's from what I understand.
True beans. That's basically exactly right. They would also sometimes just keep them sort of as like place markers in the shaft. So they would sort of leave them there. If they were all exiting the shaft for like regularly scheduled breaks or something like that, they go back in. The canary's still good. They know the gases haven't built up from a coal seam or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess that makes sense. They would have, it would be like a warning light or whatever. If you see the canary's dead, it's time to get the fuck out of here or you're going to die.
Yeah, exactly. Because they got tiny little lungs, right? So you've got some time, but that time is limited probably.
Yeah.
Not to mention the air may very well be flammable. So that's fun. And it's not the nitrous oxides too. A lot of fun gases exist in mines. Carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, which are toxic, methane and hydrogen, which are both flammable, and hydrogen sulfide, which can also float around in there. So lots of fun gases in mines.
Yeah, it depends what you're mining, right? Like if you're in a coal mine, there's lots of methane or methane or whatever the fuck. I don't care how you pronounce it. But like a gold mining environment would be like NO2, CO2, or NO, sorry, and CO2 be the main ones. But yeah, it depends what you're mining and how deep you are, part of the world you're in. It's scary.
And now, because we don't use canaries anymore, fortunately, but now they have like basically like station monitors, right? That like designated people who that's their whole job is monitoring gas in the mines, right?
There's a lot of different ways actually. So they'll have monitoring posts. So basically with a canary, but it's a machine now. So it'll like tell the air level in that area. So these are highly working, like where people are working a lot, they'll set up those. Or you can have handheld ones. They call them sniffers. All right. Gas sniffers or whatever. And you can go. It's true. It is gas sniffers.
Is that their official job title on their tax return too? Gas sniffer, the guy who carries around the fucking.
What would they call but this isn't an official job. Anybody does this. It's like a tool, right? You bring it with you, and the person who's going to go into there's certain people that go into places with less people to like map and like survey to see where you should be blasting next. Those people are kind of by themselves sometimes, so they'll take it with them, or the people that are first go down will take it with them. There's no one who specifically has the job per se, like the same kind of people do it all the time, but it's not like that's their full-time job. They also do other things. Yeah.
So that's good to know. I actually thought that was a designated like position, somebody who goes around and monitors all of the gas posts. Or
There
the
would be, there probably is that in like a big ass mine. I don't work in a big one. I work in a kind of a mid level to low level kind of small mine. But like in a big mine, I would imagine they probably have someone going around. But in a bigger mine, I would also assume they have like the stations, like I was saying, right? So they have like a control panel from surface just looking like at gas levels. Like at my mine, everyone just kind of pitches in with that job. It's like depending on where you're going, and ventilation's really well done now. And it's anyways, I'll see where you go and we'll talk more about how it is now later.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, gas is just one thing, you know. If farting in a hole all day doesn't get you, a shaft collapsing or a rock slides definitely can. So, I mean, there's more than that.
Yeah, mining terminology is so dirty. It's gonna be fun. Shaft collapsing. That's what happens when I see Roseanne nude. You know what I'm saying? Shaft collapse.
Son of a bitch. Actually, we're gonna go into some mining disasters throughout history, and a lot of them have very phallic names, which is fun.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, shaft collapsing, rock slides, hollowing out a massive rock has a tendency to weaken the integrity of said rock. But it is estimated as of 2020, about 15,000 miners are killed in mining accidents every year. So that's 21st century numbers.
Is that a worldwide stat?
Yes, it is. Yeah. So that does
okay.
account for places like Serbia and Colombia and places like that have much more lax safety measures. North America, as far as mining accidents, actually were not too bad. I think we only cracked the top of the top 10 list once.
Yeah.
So
No, we're Canada. I know for a fact is a pretty good leader in safety now, but in other parts of the world, they're still fucking crazy for sure. Like, nope, not for me.
Yeah. Canada's got so much shit going on too. Like the amount of natural resources that we have that can be mined is outrageous. We have to be head and shoulders above.
Yeah. No, if it's one of our main industries, right?
Yeah.
Minerals and mining.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, let's start out fun by looking at some mining disasters throughout history.
Cool.
Yeah. So these are actually, in fact, the top 10 mining disasters throughout history as far as body count.
Oh, okay. The real deadly fuckers. The real deadly fuckers.
The deadliest of the fuckers.
All
the
right.
kings among deadly fuckers. So we're going to look at them chronologically and not by body count, because I think it's interesting to sort of look at the pattern as history progresses.
Yeah.
But I mean, the last one as far as massive disasters was 75. So it's coming along.
Yeah.
Where do we start? 1899.
Okay.
Let's start 1899.
All right.
Let's
All
just
right.
in the cusp of the fucking 19th century there.
Yeah, because we've been mining for like getting shit off sides of cave walls for thousands of years. This isn't, but I guess this is kind of when they started recording stuff more, I would guess, in the 1800s like that. So you get more detailed accounts. Like you could probably assume there'd be some way before this that were pretty bad. I would guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you'd think.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess.
Probably some pretty gnarly ones. But also I think like the daily death toll was probably so much higher the further back you go to, that like a mining disaster is really like, oh, we lost 100 more men than we would have lost today.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks. Good. We only lost 2,000 today. That's good.
Yeah, exactly. Solid day, everybody.
Solid day. You can go home. The king thanks you for all his jewels.
Yeah, right. Well, I believe if history is accurate, it was in fact dwarves that mined gems before this period of time. So they were well versed in the underground. They lived there and stuff. So I've heard.
Dwarves.
So yeah, 1899, the Sumitomo Beshi bronze mine in Japan. Okay, so this was proper erosion control and structural support. 512 men died in a landslide that was triggered from bronze mining. So this one, very old, very little information on it. It's documented somewhere. This is what happened.
Yeah, Japan would have long records, so I trust the Japanese.
That makes one of us. Just generally.
Not after Pearl Harbor, I don't.
Oh, you got me. Okay, 1906. And this one I can't pronounce because it's French and
Okay.
it's in France. Courrières. Courrières. I don't know.
Spell it.
Courries.
Courrier.
Thank you.
Courrier.
Yes, that one. Courrier. Coal mine. France. March of 1906. 1,099 people died after a gas explosion caused a series of other explosions. And in this one, I say people and not men because the explosion also killed nearly everyone in the settlement of wives and children of the miners that was directly above the mine.
Oh, that's scary. Do you have more information on this one?
Not a ton. Essentially, like the series of explosions caused the mine shafts to cave in, causing the settlement to sort of fall.
They must have been storing explosives in a crazy way. It's scary. That's fucking old school nitro like that. It's because back then they had scary explosives. Like if you shake them too much, they explode on you. You know what I mean? So
yeah, right.
Yeah, that's like very careful work. So all it would take is a little bit too much in one spot, and someone just oops, I knocked it over, and then everyone's dead.
Yeah, so what I can gather from reading about this one is it was initially an explosion that was caused by a gas seam that then spread fire to improperly stored explosives.
Yes, the old underground pocket o gas, that'll happen.
Yeah. So
So
not
scary.
fun. That's a pretty nasty one. Not the nastiest on the list, but pretty nasty.
Okay.
1913. The Sanguinid Colliery, I believe that's how you pronounce it.
Okay.
Wales, UK, October of 1913. 440 men died after a lamp ignited fire damp, which is a gas that escapes coal seams. And the entire floor of the coal mine went up in a complete inferno. And those that didn't burn to death suffocated from the carbon monoxide gases from the fire.
Oof. Or just smoked out too. Oh man, these early 1900s, imagine not having electricity, like you having to go under lamplight. That's fucking scary, man. Oh my god.
Old coal miners' helmets too, they were literally like a headlamp. They actually had a pocket with a candle in it on their heads.
Yeah, and a reflecting mirror to give it forward mobility. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's only like 100 years ago, you know. In grand scheme of things, that's not that long ago. It is for real.
It's weird. This is why I think that all modern technology is in fact magic and not like technology, because we went like billions of years with essentially the same capabilities, and now all of a sudden we're like, you know, having computers in our hands and going into space for fun and shit. Like
Nikola Tesla was an alien, bro. It's proven fact.
I'm on board.
From the future.
Oh my gosh. Mark Twain shit his pants and he's like, so that's what happens when it comes out and goes in. Fascinating.
Oh, I'm so glad I dug up that little factoid.
That was my favorite part of the whole episode, honestly.
It's stuck in my brain forever.
Mark Twain shitting his pants.
Yeah, but that Nikola Tesla did that to him. And the fact that he shot an x-ray at his head not knowing what it did, that's fun too. Mark Twain got No, I find it crazy, these miners just with like lamplight going underground's like not for everyone. You know, it's a dark, damp. If you don't have your cap lamp on, it is dark. It's just dark, and you're underground. Like you could be a kilometer underground. You know, and these guys would do this shit with fucking candles. Imagine you accidentally blow the candle out and forgot your matches because you have matches now, or your matches got wet.
Just be lost underground forever.
Yeah, no, it's scary. It's so
no
scary.
Sense of direction, nothing to like maybe listen for other miners. That's pretty much all you could do at that point. Just like, fuck that. No way, man. And the elevators that they use to get down into the mines, Fuck that.
Even now, like a shaft is fucking kind of scary. Like going down in an elevator now, because you're like, I don't know, they're not that big, and you'll jam with like 10 dudes. And you'll all be just like shoulder to shoulder, like I'm gonna go to work. You know, that's scary to me. I don't know. It's claustrophobic already.
No, thank you. I'm good working above ground.
Yeah, me too.
It's like the number one thing when I think about podcasting. I'm like, you know why I want to be a podcaster the rest of my life? Never will I have to go underground. Not even once.
Yeah, no, I can't even think of a situation. I was trying to be like, well, what if? But I got nothing. You're on surface.
I don't know, man. If we get famous enough though, and there's like a nuclear holocaust, we would definitely be accepted into the underground community. Unless they go to Mars, then we'd be fucked.
Yeah, those are the rich people will be in Mars.
The rich people in Mars and the podcasters live underground with the mole.
Yeah,
people.
exactly.
No,
And
thank you.
thinking about humans having to mate with moles because there's not many of us. left. We have to make a mole man hybrid.
Not where I went with
Survive.
it. Jesus Christ. I was like, maybe we eat them. You're like, could I fuck one?
Yeah. Well, there's not going to be any pocket pussies left.
There's gonna be actual human women there, probably.
Not underground.
You think it's just you? It's gonna go underground all by yourself. It'll be all the other miners down there, just a bunch of dudes.
Just for no reason, too. Just to look for a mole to fuck. That's the only reason. It's not even a nuclear holocaust.
They didn't even know there was a nuclear holocaust. They just showed up to work this morning, and
Yeah, exactly.
it's not time to go home yet. I work a 20-hour day.
That was 1913. That's
Yeah, 1913.
mining.
Then we were
story.
good for a couple decades until 1931. Now this one actually I find to be the most interesting because it's kind of like the most like it's like the slow burn, you know what I mean? Like a massive explosion or like a rock slide. It's like terrifying and death within minutes, you know what I mean? It's like sort of expected, but this one kind of Hawks Nest Tunnel Silica Mine, 1931. During construction of the mine, the miners were instructed to mine silica deposits, and 476 men succumbed to silicosis by the end from breathing in the silica.
Silicosis is no joke. Silicosis is something it's still dealt with to this day. Chest x-rays are the only way to find it. What happens with silicosis is a chunk of silica dust, minute little piece of dust, will, and lots over time. This most of the time happens over time. It's not just usually acute. It's more of like a long-term effect kind of thing, but it'll get onto inside your lungs, and your body can't get it out of your lungs, so it'll just stay there, and then like lesions will start growing over it, and it'll make like lung cancery fucking chunks in your lungs that are untreatable because you don't know until it's too late almost. And it's right in your lungs like cancer. Basically, it's basically lung cancer at the end of the day. But it's made from dust, and you can't get it out. So you gotta get checks. I gotta get chest x-rays once every 2 years just to keep monitor it, because like I said. Now, interesting story about silicosis, and I don't know if you have this in the episode or anything like that, but this is a thing that happened where I'm from. The miners, the mining companies knew that silicosis was a big a problem, and was killing miners later on in life. So in an attempt to help miners from getting silicosis, the McIntyre mines from up here, they were doing a thing, exposing their workers to a thing called McIntyre dust, I believe they called it, or something like that. McIntyre. But what they would do is it was like fine aluminum powder. And they said, if you breathe this shit in, the silica won't be able to stick to your lungs anymore. So breathe in this fucking aluminum, or I guess zinc or something like that, like a fine powder of their creation, McIntyre dust. And then you would have to get in there. If you didn't do it, you would lose your job. But so all these guys did this shit, and they would like whatever. And nowadays, even to where I'm done, guys are getting like Alzheimer's and shit, and they're linking it back to this McIntyre powder shit that they made them hoof back in the 70s to stop silicosis. You know, mining companies do not give a fuck. They just want you to work. And I shouldn't say that. Not back in the day, mining companies didn't give a fuck. Nowadays, they realize that safety is better productivity, better morale, just better all around for everyone. So they try to focus on it.
That and a lot more accountability than they used to have too.
That's a big one for sure. Insurance is huge, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't know that. I didn't read about that. Like I said, I wrote this really fast, but
yeah,
that's so fucked, man.
Oh yeah, it's so crazy. And people are losing lawsuits. Like dudes are super sick over just like getting gold out of the ground. It's crazy. But
that's crazy.
You don't know, because I haven't talked to any of these CEOs before. Were their best intentions, like, were they thinking like, I'm going to actually help the silicosis problem, or I think this will work, but it'll get them back to work? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is it one of like two completely different thoughts in my brain? Like, if they're trying to help, well, then fuck, how do you know? They should have tested more, I guess, but they're trying something, or they said, get to work, do this and get to work. That's like scarier. It sounds more human nature to me, but
yeah. And I'm sure a lot of those guys went into work and they're like, snort something? Yeah, cool. But I was doing all weekend anyway.
This one's a little silvery, but got some kick.
They're fucking down there doing like bumps. And what is this shit called? McIntyre powder?
McIntyre dust or powder or whatever the fuck they call those. Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very scary stuff.
Maybe it was actually, in fact, laced with cocaine to give them more energy to work longer hours.
Yeah. I have a question about this silicosis thing. So we're working in the silica mine. Okay. Mm-hmm. And silica's, just so you know, is like very common. It's in a lot of stuff. Like we have silica all around where I am. We're in a silica based anyways. So they were in the silica mine and they died over time, 477, or they had like some sort of like major inhalation of some dust and died instantly? Because you can do that too.
In the span of a year, 476 people died from chronic.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, this was chronic. So like they started at, early 1931 and they had no protective gear, none. They're just opening up these silica deposits and mining it. By the end of the year, 476 men had died from complications related to silicosis.
Ugh. It's a horrible way to die. I wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah, this is the worst one. I'm like, you know what? I'll go out in an explosion or a rock slide, but not this, man. Not this.
Yeah, there's a lot of like, we'll talk about them later, but there's a lot of things that you don't know. I would assume you don't know. It's like probably more of a mining industry known, but injuries you can get like over a long term, not just silicosis. There's other things that are very horrible and fucking horrendous that can happen to you too, that you would never know unless you were in some sort of industry like this. So
I have some of them in here, but I think I might let you. What have I got? Pneumoconitis, asbestosis, silicosis, kidney disease.
No, keep talking. We'll whatever ones you missed, because I don't know. Asbestosis and silicosis are essentially the same thing. It's just asbestosis is a lot more deadly. It's a lot quicker acting. It'll fuck you up even more. Lodges right in you.
I don't have a ton on this. I sort of got into it a little bit, but the main thing that I want to talk about was the company store. But just give you an idea about how mining already sucks so fucking much before we get into how mining sucks even more.
For sure.
But yeah, I'll let you actually take the lead on that, because I bet you can tell me all kinds of gory things that I will enjoy.
Yeah.
1942. You actually might have heard of this one. This one actually was back in the news fairly recently. No, is it? No, it wasn't this one. It was a different one. Benshihu Colliery, China. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I'm going to piss someone off. April 1942. 49 men, died after a coal dust explosion. The majority of the men died from suffocation, and it occurred when the Japanese Imperial Army had taken over many parts of China, and they were using their forces, their soldiers, to implement longer work days, more men in the mines at one time, and less time spent on any kind of safety precautions. 1,600 men died. That's fucking nuts.
It's in a is that like in one single accident, or is that over a course of time?
One
too?
accident.
A lot of men, a lot of good people give their life, man, for mining for rocks. It's crazy. And this is like, that's in the 40s. There's really like, yes, I get it. There's a big difference, but not that much. Not to the point where you'd want to be like, I guarantee they're on like horseback, like get back to work, like get in there. Like it's so bad.
Just like, I understand it's a huge landscape and stuff like that, but 1,600 men all at work at the same time alone is fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like, how could that? They must have been like barely able to breathe.
Yeah. I don't know what they would have had for ventilation. I don't know what they would have had to keep people working like that. You said it was very dusty, like it was coal dust explosion, right? Is that what you said? Yeah, that it can't be good. Like if there's that much coal dust in the air, it must have been aberrant fucking working conditions. And I'm gonna give you a guarantee. They're in China in 1940. They were getting paid zero. They were getting paid in fucking whatever General Mao thought the region of the world needed at that time. You know what I mean? Like,
well, if they were being paid at all, because like I said, the Japanese army had just invaded, and this may have just been slave labor at this point, where they're like, "We're in charge now."
Yeah,
like,
it's
like that.
Not a shock. Yeah, it's a scary time. I can't even imagine. This is gonna have the highest total body count in all of our episodes per episode. You know what I mean? We're already at like 3,000 dead.
Damn, I was gonna do 9/11. Fuck now. Now there's no point.
We could do the war on Iraq, and then maybe we'll get up there.
Well, we did Ronnie McNutt. That counts. It's how everybody died there plus one.
Fuck that guy.
I know, right? Fuck that guy. 1960, Colebrook Colliery, South Africa. 435 men died after 900 underground pillars collapsed at the same time.
It's just shitty engineering. I don't know what to say about that one.
It's like one failure triggered 899 more failures in this case. It was insane.
Yeah.
And most of them weren't actually even crushed. Most of them just got trapped in there and died, which blows.
Which, like you said, it was 400 something, that one?
435.
435, yeah. And you can hear your buddy like, hey, help, and you're stuck too,
Yeah.
It's the whole horrendous thing, the whole thing.
Yeah. That's bad.
People writhing to death as you could barely, if it wasn't for your foot just being stuck, you could get out right now. But then you just die listening to everyone else who've been crushed, and then you're the last one. Ugh.
Yeah, that sucked, talking to your buddy who's also stuck, and then all of a sudden he's not responding anymore, and you're like, this is fine.
All I have left is to fuck this mole.
He brought it back. Oh, that's bad. Lao Bai Dong.
How much? What, is Lao a millionaire or what? How much and how many? That's what I want to know.
Fucking terrible. Lao Bai Dong, China, May 1960. 682 men died after a methane gas explosion. Fun fact, that methane is farts. It's also methane in the ground, but it's also farts. So I'm sure that didn't help. Fun fact about this one, though, and this is the one that was actually in the news not that long ago. The Chinese government actually refused to release the records on it until 1990. Almost 700 men were just erased, and no one acknowledged it for 30 years.
Yeah, no. China still does stuff like that. Let's not. China's still very private.
Yeah, same thing with the other one where 1,600 people died. But with this one, I was like, okay, I get it. Kind of like, you don't want to be like, yeah, we lost to Japan, eat my fart, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
with this one, it's kind of like, are you fucking serious? Like, come on.
Yeah, just, I don't know. It's the Machiavellian fucking greater good bullshit.
But how do you do that? How do you do that? Like, my husband didn't come home from the mine. You don't have a husband. I don't know what you're talking about. 700 men died. No, they didn't.
Yeah, it's the whole like the state is more important than the individual thing. You don't even care. It's a tool to you. It's a hammer. You lost your hammer. What are you talking about? You never had a hammer. It's like, wait, it's not a hammer or a wrench.
yeah.
It's a human, you know. But that's not the way the officials think of that shit. You're just a fucking number. The next thing, like,
That's crazy.
yeah.
Could you imagine if something like that happened here? I mean, I guess actually this kind of did just happen here, right? Because they found like thousands of graves from residential schools that we just kind of didn't acknowledge forever. And then it just, I guess this is sort of like that. So maybe I should pot black kettle.
We have our own problems, different problems, but we all got problems. And that's a pretty big one. It's the same thing. You're right. It's just like, oh, all these kids disappeared. I'm sure they're with good families. Don't worry about them. They changed their name. You'll never find them again.
It's bad when we did it. It's bad when you do it. Stop doing it.
Yeah.
3 more. Mitsui, and this is Japanese, Mitsui Miki, I think, coal mine. Japan, November 1963, 458 men died after a coal dust explosion triggered a series of explosions that caved in the mine, crushing, trapping, and exploding most of the men inside. So again, same thing. Explosion triggers a bunch of other explosions.
Yeah, you're all in an enclosed space, right? No air can escape, so gases get caught, especially in a coal mine where there's methane like crazy.
That sucks, man. You hear an explosion and you can't even be like, that's fine. That's far away. You just kind of got to wait.
Yeah, especially back then, they probably didn't have too many safety protocols. I'm sure they had their own thing, but I mean, they didn't have anything to like, there was no cemented room where you could go barricade yourself until someone could dig you out. You know, there was just little safety bays in the wall where you could kind of dodge something. You know, it's
sure mole people.
Yes, mole people. You're not going to dodge a mole person though. You're going to speak to it sweetly and
whisper sweet nothings.
Blow out your candle. You want some privacy?
And then you're lost. Then you're stuck.
And you have to rely on the mole people. This is why you have to mate with them so that you can make friends. Like they feel like you're part of the family.
They are better equipped. That would be the best way to survive. You know, your offspring, they're also born blind. And so they get that sense of hearing and smell that the moles have.
Exactly.
And you can function underground. So that makes sense.
Sure, they look like fucking Steve Buscemi, but who gives a shit?
But you
know
don't
what I
know
mean?
that. How could you tell? It's dark down there, man.
Exactly. Who cares?
Feels the same to me.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Why? I did not really think that we'd be campaigning for fucking the mole people, but here we are. Anyway. This is a good one. Wanky coal mine. Fuck.
Imagine telling everyone you work at Wanky Coal Mine. Like, sure you do. Is that what you call your jerk off palace in your bedroom there, buddy? Wanky Coal Mine? That sounds like an Urban Dictionary entry where you gotta like jerk off a guy and eat his asshole at the same time. That's what that sounds like.
Oh no. The wanky coal mine. That's where you get jerked off by a mole person underground.
Exactly.
I don't know. It's in Zimbabwe actually, so I don't know. It probably means something far more dignified over there than it does here.
Yeah, it's like majestic lion. Oops, sorry, Zimbabwe, my bad.
Yeah, my bad. 1972, this one. 426 men died after a dynamite blast caused the shaft to fill with gas. And those who died either suffocated or were killed by the very poorly engineered blast. Or actually, many of them were in fact trampled in the panic to escape. So that's fun too.
That's interesting. So what year did you say that one was again? Sorry?
This was 1972.
Huh. So they had electricity and they're like hauling ass to get out of there. That's how scared they were, and they killed. Huh. They would have had train tracks down there by the 70s for sure. So you figure people would be tramming their ass out of there, but I guess not. I guess running's the way to do it today. But I guess when you're in panic mode, you're gonna run, you know.
Basically, yeah. Because I guess what happened with this one, because I read on it a little bit more, what happened with this one was the dynamite blast opened up a massive gas pocket, which filled the entire shaft with gas. and they couldn't breathe immediately. And so they're hauling ass to get out because they're getting no air, none.
I was just watching everyone fall beside them. Got to get out. And then it
Yeah.
exploded, you said, right? Or it didn't explode, just gas kill.
Well, there was a dynamite blast, but that
see.
did kill
It
a
didn't-
couple of people,
Yeah.
but most of them died from the suffocation because this gas pocket was huge.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
Yeah. We're lucky to have the technology we have now to like look for that kind of stuff before you blast. I don't think in the 70s they would have had like the same tools to detect that kind of like magnetic survey, stuff like that. They wouldn't have had drones going around taking the mag survey of all around to see where like the denser parts of the or the more magnetic means there's certain things here, and you can just test things way better now.
Yeah, and probably not in remote Zimbabwe either in 1972.
Probably
So-
not in remote Zimbabwe 2021. So
Yeah,
you know,
that's a problem. But they haven't had one that bad since, so that's good. And let's see, the most recent one that breaks the top 10, the Shasnala coal mine in India, December 1975. 372 men died after an explosion. This one's fun. An explosion caused a water tank to rupture and fill the mine with water. So some died during the explosion, but most of them actually drowned.
per capita though, that's not that many. You know what I mean? Well, that's drowning underground is not that's not a new thing. It's a
I know.
real thing because they in my mind, well, I would assume most mines they make water pool in a certain area and they'll pump it out like constantly because you got to be cleaning walls and backs and like the areas that you're working, you have to clean them out. You're constantly using water now to keep dust down too, silicosis and shit like that. So now it's water is very, very controlled. It's a very scary thing.
Yeah.
You ever watched The Descent? The movie?
Oh, with the girls, with the and
Yeah.
the
The
like white
spelunkers?
things that are going through like
Oh,
the
yeah.
old mine shaft, and yeah.
I'd fuck one of those too.
I don't get it. Well, I do. I get it.
I like to live, you know?
Yeah.
Add that to the Dick Rectory and good night.
It's been a long time since it's been updated, man. I got to see what dicks are out there now. It's got to be like a whole new like scene of dicks out there because things change.
Another day, another dick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm meeting a lot of podcaster dicks these days.
There you go.
Dudes were like, "Yeah, I have a podcast too," and I'm like, "Good for you."
Is it good?
Just me and a bunch of my buddies drinking. Yeah, I know a guy with a podcast like that. Don't care for him much either. Oh, shots fired. I'm just kidding, Rick. I love you, God. Anyway, yeah, so that's the top 10 most disastrous mining incidents in history. And I'm going to edit that to be a lot more streamlined and fun than it was.
I had fun.
I had a great time. 9 out of 10, not enough bodies. No, 8 out of 10, not enough mole people.
8.5 out of 10 because now I've pictured myself fucking a mole. So okay, here's a good story, and you can keep this one in. One of the ladies that my company's international, so it goes all over. They have mines all over the place. So this one lady's the head of whatever, but she for the whole company. But she is, I think she's from Chile. Anyway, she's from like South America, I believe. I could be wrong. But she travels to all these mines, and she was telling we have to do every morning. You have to do a safety meeting. Okay, you have a nice little safety meeting. You all talk about what we're going to be safe today, how we're going to be safe, what's the things we've done to be safe yesterday, stuff like that, just to keep safety on the mind. And once a month, we'll do these safety meetings that are like generalized, big safety meetings for the whole mine site on a certain subject. Sometimes we'll have everyone tell a big long story of something that happened that was dangerous in their life. So this one lady from Chile, she was telling us that she was in the desert in China checking out one of their claims, like their land claims, to go see, and she found a dead body in China, like a dead guy trying to run away from that. It was working in the mines, and all he had on him was one sunflower seed and 2 pennies in his pocket, and he's trying to escape the mines. And This is a story I heard 2 years ago from this lady. So that must have been within the past 20 years. That's how scary mining is. That this guy was like, it's either I die in the desert or I work in this mine. I'm going to die in the desert. Like that's why Canada's awesome. Canada's awesome for sure.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me more fun things that miners die of.
A lot of things are injury and accident, or not accidents. I shouldn't say accidents.
Your face, not accidents.
Nothing's an accident because you can prevent, everything's preventable. And that's the mindset you should have being in a mine. Anything can be thought of. You just have to prevent it from happening before it happens. So everything's preventable. So it's not an accident. We call it an incident. So any incident that could happen on a mine site is usually from just not following rules now. And there are 9 big rules that we have at my mine. Most mines adopt the same kind of rules. Not all the same, but like in the general area. And I can't even name off all 9 off the top of my head right now, but I'll name off a few. And these are the ways people die most likely. So like using stuff that you're not trained to use. You're not allowed to do that, obviously. But some guys will just jump on a scoop or like a big truck and go like, I've driven stuff like this before. And then they don't realize they're in a mining environment and run someone over. Or you can get run over, no problem. Easily. Stuff like that. You know what I mean? I don't know if you've ever seen any mining equipment before, Celeste, but they have trucks that they have like stairways to get into the cab. They're so big. If you're within 500 or maybe 200 meters in front of them, they don't even know you're there in a pickup truck. They'll just run you over. A monster truck is fuck all compared to it. It looks like a tinky tiny toy compared to it. So don't do shit that you're not trained on. That'll kill someone right away. That's a one. Don't go under suspended loads. So that's a good way people die in mines or have died. I said suspended load. Yeah, you heard me.
I did. I'm back thinking about mole people.
Yeah. Give me a minute. I got moles on the mine. But a suspended load would be like something on a crane or on a boom of any type picking up. It's easier to guide something when it's suspended, right? You can move it around, no problem. Like weight isn't really, the weight's all being picked up by the scoop. But if you're underneath something and it falls, you die crushed. Mining collapses, like not properly engineered areas. Another big rule is don't go under unsupported ground. Supported ground means there's proper ground support as you're going. So as you mine, what you'll do is you'll get to a face. A heading is what they call the tunnel getting into where the mine is, where your ore is. Okay, so you get into your heading, and the face is what the back part of the wall is called, where you're going to blast your next round, which they call a round. Is like every time they blast, that's a round. As you keep progressing further and further with blasts, you have to add more and more ground support as you go. But when you blast, there's no ground support where you just blasted, right? But if you get underneath, you're just asking to get killed, right? It's like rocks could fall on your head. I could go on, man. Like this disease, we already went through some of that. What else could kill you in mine? Not paying attention to your job. You can kill someone or yourself, not keeping your mind on task. Turning your head for that 1 second. You want to know what could kill someone? You know what's a big one? Is not fixing a problem when you see it. You see a little thing and walk by it every day. And no big deal. And then someone fucking falls down a hole because you just decided you didn't want to put up the sign that said open hole right there. And you said, everyone knows it's there. I'm like rambling, but mining's like very bonus driven. So like if you get you make your targets for the week, you get a bonus paycheck, like gold mining is anyway.
Oh.
So if you don't make your rounds or you don't do your certain things, you lose out on your extra money. So a lot of the time, that's where the cutting corners comes, in my opinion, is with like trying to make bonus instead of trying to like think safely. And like a lot of guys will just like, there's something dangerous. They'll go like, okay, 5 more minutes, I'll get this done and get out. And that works out 99.9% of the time. It's the 0.01% that's scary. You just want to eliminate it. If you could tell, I'm a safety guy at my work because I don't want to ever anyone to die ever. I really don't.
But before you got promoted into this position, you wanted everyone to die.
Yes. I don't care about money. That's the thing. I really don't. It's not my main motivator in life. Money's cool. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to throw away money or something stupid like that, but not worth it.
What kind of diseases?
You can get lead poisoning. You can get the
Fun.
process to like assay gold. To assaying is just like the test that they do when they take a sample of rock and see how much gold is in it. It's called an assay. And basically they just crush the rock, then they'll pulverize the rock, and then they'll melt the rock with a squirt of like lead silver nitrate, I guess it is. And then the gold will all pool as it's being warmed up. And then you can tell by the weight of how much rock was there versus how much gold is in there, how much gold you'll find in a massive spot. So if you're not wearing gloves, just that alone, getting lead on your fingers, you know, over time, just eventually just go lead crazy. Like heavy metals are scary. It can seep through your skin, you know.
Yikes.
Muscular skeletal disease. It's from vibration. Okay. And it's also called white fingers. Like people call it white fingers. And what you'll do is you'll vibrate, like being on big machines and stuff like that. You vibrate a lot, and then you start to lose circulation in the tips of your fingers and your tips of your toes, to the point where you have no feeling. And they like basically whatever the opposite of necrotic black is. It's what your fingers will turn white, like real white, no feeling. And then eventually you just can't pick shit up anymore. And it's all just from vibration, like not proper ergonomic workspaces or proper tools. And that's some fucking scary stuff too, because a lot of stuff is vibrating. Machinery does do that. And if you don't move around and you just continuously every day do that. Also, like a big killer for mining, believe it or not, is not even at the mine. It's like getting to the remote locations, just driving. Like I drive 40 minutes each way to work every morning on a highway in the middle of fucking snowstorms. You just get a moose. Try to get to work in the fucking craziest weather because you feel committed to your getting your job done.
Jesus.
It's a big one. It's a scary one. I'm trying to think of more stuff that can get you. There's so much stuff. It's so dangerous.
You guys don't get paid enough. I don't care how much you make. You don't get paid enough.
I think they get paid plenty because a lot of guys, you know what minor stands for? And I'm joking when I say this. Whoever from my work listens to this and gets.
You're freezing.
Where was I? Did you get my viewer discretion warning for my friends at work who are going to cry over me saying this?
I did now.
Yeah. Okay. So don't worry. I'm joking. Okay. But minor stands for major income, no education required.
Oh.
So you could drop out of school at 16 and go work in the mines. You know, I have buddies who did that, not at 16, but didn't go to college or anything like that. Fuck, they're loaded. They're like fucking secret millionaires. You know, I wish I never went to school for that. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you were good with your money, you get paid lots. Like, how much more money do you need, man? Like, some of these guys get paid like $60 an hour plus 100% bonus, meaning if they make their rounds and everything, they get a second paycheck. Like,
Oh my God.
some guys are making 250K a year mining in different countries and shit, going to drill and stuff like that. Some people where I work probably make lots of people make six figures, I would guess, underground. Mining is a lucrative profession.
I bet.
It's sacrificed 25 years. You said it knocks off people's life. So maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. Huge sacrifice. I don't know, man. I don't know. I could see like getting into mining for like a year or two to build yourself a nest egg and then doing something else with your life, assuming you don't die in that year or two. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The problem is the lower paid first 2 year jobs aren't really worth it to just do that. You have to like gain experience and then get yourself into a higher risk, but also higher paying job. And then you'd have to do it. So it'd be like a 6-7 year plan to just do what you're saying to actually make it worthwhile. And then by the time 6-7 years turn around, you're like, well, I might as well just keep going. You know, I've been doing this for 6-7 years.
Nope. No. Not doing it. If I'm getting underpaid, it's something where I'm not in mortal danger. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be underpaid at being a barista. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing's going to kill me at Starbucks.
Wow. I'm not going to say they're under, like the lowest level job here is still double what a barista would get. But I mean,
That does sound fun.
yeah.
Not fun enough. Throw in mole people.
Send me back underground into a dark corner with a nice table set up. We can Lady and the Tramp this, Mr. Mole. And notice I said Mr. because I'm straight when it comes to humans, but fucking gay for mole people.
Oh God.
I feel like there's a new Easter egg coming up. I'm fucking gay for mole people.
Well, there it is, right there, nice and clean. I will admit I am getting a little disenchanted with I put them all in my mouth. I am a little bit, but after all that going off on mining, I'm not actually here to go off on mining. What I'm here to go off on is the quote company store, because that is fucking bullshit.
All right.
So mining companies had an ingeniously unethical way of keeping their employees indebted to them. I actually genuinely think I'm dying sometimes. Like ever since I got sick, I have trouble speaking. Everything hurts all the time.
Indentured servitude.
Essentially, yeah, exactly. So when an employee would fall in hard times, the mining companies would offer them an advance on their wages to help them out. But this advance would come in the form of company scrip, which is a form of currency that is either paper or tokens that could be used in the company-owned store or sometimes exchanged into currency with a ridiculous exchange rate. So once the supplies purchased equaled or exceeded the amount of the scrip, the shopkeeper would mark it with what the miners called the snake. And the snake essentially meant you're out of money until next time you get paid, which is usually like 2 weeks or a month away, right? And the supplies that those miners needed to purchase included clothing and food as expected, but they're also responsible for their own tools and their own blasting powder.
Oh, that's one of the things that I would love is to be able to just go buy explosives now. Come on.
Indentured servitude, but I get to buy my own explosives.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm sorry, but explosives are company provided now.
Yeah, and locked away so no one can play with them ever.
As it should be, but no,
As
not
it
then.
should be, for sure.
You go, like when you go shopping at like fucking, I don't even know, do you have Bulk Barn over there? You go to Bulk Barn and you go to the big old bin of blasting powder and you get yourself a sack and they weigh it.
I don't get how that works, but I guess like when they want to just have the blasting stuff for these guys so they could actually get rocks out of the ground, but I guess no, I guess they like, what if nobody could afford it? They'd just be like, I guess the mine's closed.
If nobody could afford it, they'd give them a script.
These fucking guys.
What
is this in the 1800s?
So I'll get into it a little bit. So the company store, which the miners called the Pluck Me.
they're trying to say like, fuck me, this costs lots, but pluck me. I see what they did there.
So this store had a massive markup, naturally, meaning that each time the workers bought supplies, they were more and more likely to require another advance, leaving them with a massive debt to the company. And legally, from a legal standpoint, because it used to be debtors would go to prison, right? Nowadays, that's not the case, but the debt was financial from a legal perspective, but what was really owed to the mine was something far more valuable than money, and that was their time. Hours and hours, months and months, years and years of time in debt, right?
Yeah.
But the company store did have a wholesome quality to it as well, which made it seem sort of less nefarious. They would stock up on penny candies and treats and magazines and things like that for all the local children and the wives to gather to socialize at the company store, where they're catching up on their local news and they're gossiping, right?
Spilling their tea.
And it encourages more spending.
Yeah, of course. It's like the same reason they have chocolate bars at the fucking cash out counter at any grocery store. So, Mom, can I get a pack of Smarties? Like, no, Mom. So,
and then you take it and you walk out with it anyway because you're 4 years old.
Exactly.
Which I did. And my mom made me go back to give it back because stealing is wrong. And the manager laughed and was like, it's cool. And my mom was like, I'm trying to teach her a lesson, you fucking asshole. And I was like, woo, stealing.
You've told me this is bad for so long. Now I know.
This guy has a name tag and I'm supposed to believe you? Please, Mom.
Yeah, exactly.
Get out of here.
If Mom's your real name, you don't even have a name tag for me to know that for sure.
Yeah, pretty much. I did go through a shoplifting phase when I was a teenager, so maybe that was influenced by that experience. I have no idea. At the same Safeway where I held a job for 4 years after that, I shoplifted a shit ton of stuff from that Safeway, and then I worked there for 4 years. So
Oh, good. Good. No guilt.
no, not even a little bit. But
Yeah.
shoplifting is a rite of passage, god damn it. And you stole pizzas, okay? From the poor delivery guy.
Oh, I'm not saying I'm innocent at all. I'm just asking if you have any guilt. I don't. Didn't say I did.
No guilt. None.
You're good. You shouldn't.
So the practice of company towns, because the company store was generally part of a company town. This was industry standard from about 1880 to about 1935. And it was mostly utilized by the coal industry, but not exclusively. Railroads, lumber, and turpentine camps also used this practice fairly frequently, and some outliers, like very successful factories, but mostly the coal industry.
Yeah, when you hear about and this isn't true, but when you hear about slavery being talked about in America, and everyone and the Irish guys go like, but Irish were the slaves first. No, you weren't. This is what was happening to you. The same thing is you would get a free trip over to America, these assholes, and you'd be stuck in indentured servitude, which is not slavery. It's not the same thing. You'd owe this guy for your entire life. Yes, you'd be always paying, but you could still leave and go have a house and shit like that. So, and they would actually work in the mines and stuff like that. These Irish guys, or on the railroads and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's been happening for a long time. This company store thing's, it's an old idea. It's a good grift,
Isn't it? Right?
Yes. Yeah.
So some of the company towns actually came from company owners that were trying to form essentially a utopian workers' village. And there were supposed to be churches and schools and libraries and playgrounds where people could, be united under one company as one community. And that's where this idea sort of happened. But then these companies with more nefarious intentions got wind of this idea, and they were like, that's brilliant. I'll own everything that they need access to.
Yeah.
I'm on it.
Then I'll be the mayor and collect all the taxes from this town too. Like,
Right? It's so bad. And so like the more utopian kind of towns, they would have like these schools and all that good stuff. But the sketchy towns, the biggest sign of like a sketchy town is that there will be saloons, and even more saloons. Because like saloons were everything back then, right? They were casino, they were bar, they were brothel, they were burlesque house, they were all of it rolled into one. And so by putting the saloons in, they're like inviting them to act up and like behave in a way where they can threaten their livelihood more frequently and then encourage more debt. Like they can be blacklisted from the company store for a period of time, and then they won't be able to get their resources. They can also be blacklisted from their job for a period of time, so they can't get any wages for behavior like at the saloons and on their personal time.
yeah, they're using the saloon as a way to get them to owe more money, which probably would have happened in the saloon anyway. Honestly, they're probably just going to owe different people money, and like 1880s to 1930s. This was like a popular. So like there would have been a lot of like nothing to do except for drink.
Pretty much in these places that were owned by, again, mostly these coal mining companies. There was no whole lot else to do. A lot of them had their families there, but that was basically your options, right? You go to the saloon, or you could go hang out at the company store.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of this probably was to get all your workers close to their work area too, because they didn't have the same, like I have a vehicle now that I can drive 40 minutes, but in the 1880s, a carriage and a horse, or one of the original cars, because I guess cars would have been near around then, like fucked out. It'd take me a day to get where I am. So it was probably for utilitarian purposes too, right? Not just utopian, like making their life easier.
It is, it depends, right? It depends on the company. Sometimes it is about making their life easier because, again, they were located in these remote places where it's like, let's make it easy for them to come to work. But other times it's like, let's make it so that they can't go anywhere else, right? Yeah, they can live and work.
The town I live in, York Falls, is like a paper mill town for 100 years. And that's basically what they did. They just built a little town right beside their paper mill, and they're all the same houses. It's all like in the old part of town, it's all just these row houses that look identical, all the mill houses, all the company houses. And I'm imagining it's the same kind of deal because it's 100 years ago, right?
It is.
Yeah.
So essentially, the companies owned the entire towns. And so that means that even if a worker manages to live without these advances, all of the places to buy goods were owned by the company anyway. And very frequently, outside purchases were forbidden in the first place. But even if they weren't, these men were working 12, 16, 20-hour days. They didn't have time to walk or travel to the nearest town to avoid the company store. And in addition to owning the retail buildings, the mining companies also owned all of the housing, which was mostly shacks that the miners lived in, and they didn't live there for free. They were also required to pay for lodging, which is owed to the company. But again, they were, quote, free to live wherever they liked, but good luck getting to work.
By the end of it, you're just giving them a place to live, making them work for free. You know what I mean? Like just nickel and diming them until they got fuck all left. It's very scary.
Yeah, they got nothing left. So basically, you get to keep them on board forever.
Yeah.
And it's a fraction of the income, right, that they make. They may support and essentially pay for everything within that town, but it's a fraction of what the miners actually get them in product.
Yeah. Like, imagine all the shit you could get away with so long ago. Like, fuck, man. Like, people would just do that, and they'd probably be like, just good business practice as they lift their cigar with the dollar bill, you know? Like, they don't even think that's a bad thing. This was probably thought of like, this is what should be like. I have lots of money and a mine. If these guys should be happy, I'm letting them borrow some eggs, you know? Like, that's scary to me.
It's crazy, right? So
Yeah.
like the isolation and the remote location of these mining towns obviously means no competition, a total monopoly on the prices, so they can set the prices however they want. And the mining towns also had their own private police. And a lot of these towns were actually fully fenced. And the companies would say that this was to protect the miners from robbers and traveling salesmen.
Oh,
Because that was apparently a very big concern.
If I have to hear the vacuum speech one more time from Jerry, I swear to God I quit. All right, we'll put up the fence.
Yeah, exactly. The guy coming around to sell cutlery. Okay, they're protecting them from that unsavory salesman, right? But obviously, you know, they were mostly there to encourage obedience or force obedience and to prevent them from leaving. And the other thing, too, with the private police is that a lot of the people who were in the mining towns were convicts, were working convicts. And so they're housed side by side with these families and these free workers. And so the private police are also there to protect the free workers from the convicts.
Yeah. And from you have a psychology background, right? Like, this would just me postulating right now. Would putting up fence around a town and having armed guards walking this make you just assume you're, like, not consciously, maybe subconsciously, believe you're already in prison anyway, so you just accept your fate of this?
So it's just like the Stanford prison experiment in real life.
But it's not even an experiment. This is just happening, right? You would just think like, I'm protected and I'm so protected, but I don't know. I guess they would let them leave. It's not like they're like forcing them to stay. But I mean, just in the back.
It is.
Yeah.
It's the Stanford prison experiment.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. They could leave and they chose not to. And they put up with all this bullshit that they normally wouldn't put up with because they're put in these circumstances and being told by someone in a position of authority to do what they're told. It's exactly like that.
And people, and I'm not disparaging the 1930s. Okay, they had the best they could, but not a lot of these people were educated enough to like think about what's happening. You know, they would just be like people of God, you know, just assume, oh, there's a church here, it's a good place to raise a family, or like getting hammered at the smart guys would be the ones lighting their fucking cigars with dollar bills. So people didn't take advantage. Like, this is crazy, but it happened. I
Yeah.
like it.
Well, it's also limiting, right? Because like in some situations, you're free to leave, but you're not free to leave your job, right? Because you still owe that debt to the company.
Whoa. What's consequence?
Debtors went to prison. Basically, if you forfeit your debt, you go to prison and then you end up as a work convict. So you go right back to the mine. It's essentially what happened.
Yeah, so you might as well just stay, because if you'd rather be indentured servitude than I'm sure the fucking prisoners got the bad jobs. They're the ones shoveling shit. They're the ones like putting the dynamite in the hole underneath unsupported ground. They're the ones doing that shit. I guarantee it. There's a hierarchy. There had to be.
There was, for sure. And also they would lose their families, right? Because if you're not working in the mine, like, yeah, you'll come back to probably a different mine, but your family's on their own now. You're not bringing them with you as a convict.
Yeah, but as nothing's changed with miners losing their family. Usually they're all divorced and go away for 2 weeks and they find out their wife's fucking the neighbor. I don't know. That's a common thing now.
How could you tell? They all come home covered in soot. It could easily be your husband. You're like, yeah, that looks right.
I didn't know.
Woman, I'm home, and her dress is already up because that's the routine.
Man, I'm home.
Every now and then a mole would come in covered in soot. She couldn't.
Let's make this a 3-way.
Yeah, so the other thing too is that they could be evicted from their homes while they still have a debt to the mine. So that was another thing that could happen if they didn't behave at the saloons, and that was something that they did fairly frequently because the homes had day-to-day leases in most situations. So that's fun. So you lose your home and have no home, but you still have to go work at the mine, and then some new miners living in your house with a mole.
Yeah, it makes you think, like, after hearing all the like pressure was put on you, maybe a lot of these accidents weren't accidents. Some of these mining disasters were just like, fuck you and fuck everyone. Boom. Good night.
Oh, like the Salem witch lady, the one that like fingered all the white ladies and was like,
peace. Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, maybe it was just suicide based. Some of them, like, if I can't leave and I just lost my family and my house and everything, I'm just gonna go, oh, methane, I could smell that. Boom, 4,000 people dead, or whatever the fucking numbers were. 500 people. Good night, because I didn't like it. Fuck you.
I can see it, but at the same time, miners have like this like really intense kind of brotherhood thing, right?
Sure.
Like they're a lot of camaraderie in the mining industry.
For sure. I would agree with that. You can trust a miner with your life, but not with your wallet.
Is that a thing?
I heard that one today.
Is that a minerism?
I guess so. I guess so. I heard that today. So I was like, that's pretty fun.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, right. So like a lot of camaraderie, very strong ties. I don't think they'd blow up a bunch of other people. Unless it was like a suicide pact thing. Like, let's slow down production today and just blow this fucking mine wide open.
Yeah, you know how we get rid of Johnny Moneybags? We'll kill ourselves. That'll teach them.
The original Jonestown.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't really want to blow us up. Just blow yourself up, okay? Blow yourself up. You ever listen to those tapes? Fuck, it's bad. The one lady's just like, but I don't want all the kids to die. And he's like, just drink the fucking thing. Like, you can tell he's so fed up with her by the end.
Oh my god. Oh yeah. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Is this like a thing? Just blow yourself up? Like
Jonestown.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, she's very saddening. Yeah.
Shitty. Cults are tough. That's why I haven't covered one that's actually that bad.
Yeah.
Cults are scary. Oh yes. Another fun aspect of the company town is that if the company ever went under, which it frequently did, it's disastrous for the residents of those towns because the company operates every business, and without the company to foot the bills, those that are running those businesses, maintaining those businesses, would leave to go find work somewhere else, and people that couldn't go find work somewhere else would die.
And they would they tear down all the houses? Like, why can't you just start your own community there? What do you need the mining company for?
That actually has happened.
Yeah.
So I actually want to talk about, this is as far as I got with the script, is the next couple of things, and I ran out of time. But
sure.
I actually want to talk about a couple famous examples of company towns and what happened to them. So on the failing side of things, a famous example of a failed company town, and this was failed for the better, was Pullman, Illinois. So in 1884, George Pullman established a factory south of Chicago that was meant to build railroad sleeping cars for the Pullman Palace Car Company.
What a piece of shit. Sorry, 1 second. What a piece of shit, this guy. You're indentured servituding people, making them live in your little company house, and then naming your town after yourself. Like, fuck you. Just call it like Poor Town, USA.
Poor Town, USA.
Anyways, I know it's so egotistical. Although, if you could name a town, you'd probably like. Would you, if they're like, you name this next town, would you go like Celeste, Saskatchewan?
No, I don't want to be associated with Saskatchewan.
Oh yeah, I forgot you guys have hate for the Saskatchees.
We don't have hate for this is for them. We just, if you had to pick a province, why pick that one?
Because it alliterates, kind of. Celeste, Saskatchewan.
I'd rather be like Celeste, British Columbia. I'd live in Celeste, BC.
That's what I'm saying. BC's beautiful, of course. We're trying to get people this. We need a new town, and the only place there's new towns is Saskatchewan because nobody wants to live there anyway.
Yeah, that's it. Name a town in a province after someone as unapproachable as me. That will help.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just like, I hate these guys at their fucking Pullman, Illinois. Go fuck yourself, Pullman.
It could be worse. It could be like Pullmanville.
Yeah.
Or Pullmanton.
Pullmantopia.
So that'd be so fucking bad. Or it could be Australia and it could be called Crooked Dick or whatever the fuck all their stupid towns are called.
It would probably, if it was Australia, it would be called like, what's the guy's first name again?
George.
It'd be like George Pullman's town. That's what it would.
Fucking Australian towns. I can't believe that shit. They're playing a game, okay? They're over there and they're like, how many towns can we name after genitals before they start sending the prisoners here again?
Yeah. No, I think they had probably like too many sexual assaults going on with all the rapists they sent there. So like, let's desensitize everyone with sexual names so that sex isn't anything anymore.
So they know
like,
what to expect when they go there. Yeah.
Exactly. Knob Creek, you know what's gonna happen there.
Knob Creek is in Kentucky.
I don't know. I just said a name. I can't remember, like fucking Dong Central. Don't go to downtown. You'll get fucked.
Breast Mountain. I don't know. A bunch of like fucking Australia. God damn it.
Yeah.
That's so Australia. Yes, Pullman, Illinois, which I also find phallic.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so he establishes this town, and this town was actually, it was supposed to be like a new frontier in company towns. Okay, so it had over 1,000 houses. It had parks. The houses had indoor plumbing. They had like regulated trash removal. It was a nice place, and all in all, it ended up having about 12,000 residents by 1893. However, during the economic downturn of 1894, Pullman started lowering the wages and cutting jobs while also refusing to lower the rent, of course, which led to such a violent workers' strike that the federal troops had to interfere. So that's fun.
No, I don't want to be at the business end of a board homeland security people. You know what I mean? Like,
this was bad. This was a very bad situation. The town barely stayed afloat until 1897, when Pullman finally died, and then the company was forced to sell all of its non-industrial property. So those that were remaining in the town were able to buy their homes.
Oh.
And the company ultimately went under in 1957, and the factory was set to be demolished, but the locals protested it as a landmark, and so the company, or the factory, is actually still standing and it's vacant. But this is basically a failed company town in the way that the business has failed, and also the town in and of itself basically became sort of self-sufficient without any expansion. So that's interesting.
Illinois. Who would have thunk it?
But on the other side of things, one of the like most successful company towns pretty much in history expanded and reached agreements with other companies that would implement new businesses to bring in new workers. And then they would develop gradually sort of into more modern cities. Now, this one didn't sort of develop into the modern cities that we think of, like it's not a Toronto or anything. But this town was Hershey, Pennsylvania, which is mostly known for its Hershey's chocolate factory.
Oh, so Hershey's started this one.
Exactly.
Is that like Jimmy Hershey, or is that just like the name of? I'm sure they named the fucking chocolate after themselves. I'm so sweet, it's named after me.
He sure did, and his name is Milton.
Oh, no wonder you didn't call it Milton's either. Let's put it that way.
Melton Hershey's. So in 1900, Milton Hershey built a factory in rural Pennsylvania due to the access that he had to the local dairy farms for the chocolate production. And he also built a town so that he would be able to get staff for the factory. And so he is one of the men who had very utopian ideals for his little town, a little too utopian of ideals for his little town. The town featured homes that could be rented, but also could be owned by the workers. It had a trolley system. It had schools. It had an amusement park and a zoo. He also established a boarding school for local boys, which seems a little bit more Willy than Wonka to me, but you know. During the Great Depression, he created even more jobs during this time because he campaigned to build a hotel, a sports arena, and several new public structures. So he was great for anyone in that area looking for work, but the idyllic town had its own problems, including Hershey implementing his own requirements for his employees' personal time away from work. So he would try to dictate what they could do outside of work, which was problematic. And he also had questionable hiring practices. And I don't exactly know what that means, if that's like sexual harassment, if that's racism, who knows, but it doesn't sound fun.
Probably probably a dash of both, I would assume.
I don't know. I don't think he hired child workers. So my guess is racism.
Well, I was gonna say probably sexism, probably only hiring dudes.
Maybe.
I didn't mean
Definitely a
children. I didn't mean children, but I mean maybe.
Get all the children he needed in the boarding school for boys. That's why I don't think sexual harassment, but definitely sexism.
Yeah, oh yeah, no doubt. Girls are good for making supper and making children and not speaking, because as soon as they speak, they say something fucking stupid, you know?
Do they?
No, that's what I think.
No. Just to clarify, that's what I think.
Yeah, 1938 Richard thinks that.
But yeah, despite these issues that he had, ultimately the Hershey's chocolate factory survived, as did Hershey, Pennsylvania, and it continues to thrive even after he passed away in 1945. So as far as company towns, this is sort of a more wholesome look at it, but this is not the norm.
Yeah. Never mind. I thought I was just looking up something because I thought it was Hershey, but it was Nestle. Never mind. But the lady who invented chocolate chip cookies.
Oh yeah.
She was making walnut cookies, and she just had no walnuts one day. She panicked and threw chocolate, and everyone's like, "Wow, chocolate chip cookies, isn't that good?" And they got popular because of World War II, because she was sending some over to her sons or relatives in World War II, and since it was such a world war, everyone was passing them out to their buddies like, "Oh, these are the best things ever." And then I thought it was Hershey that got a hold of her, but it was actually Nestle in the end that got a hold of her, and they traded. They said, "Oh, we'll put your recipe on each one of we'll make chocolate chips for you," because she was like, "I hate chopping them." She's like, "I'll make them, and then we could put your recipe on the back, and if we're allowed to do that, we'll give you all the free chocolate chips you would ever want ever." And she was like, "You know what? I don't need any royalties or sales money or anything like that. I just want chocolate chips." And she fucking traded it for that. I was like, wow, these Hershey guys got really fucking, Ruth Wakefield is the lady's name, really wrote on the back of Ruth Wakefield. But it's not Hershey, it's Nestle. So
I didn't know that story, but as soon as you were like chocolate chip cookies, I was like, Nestle Toll House.
Yeah. Yeah, she traded her whole recipe for lifetime chocolate chips.
That fucking sucks.
Bad move, sister.
That really blows. Anyway, that's actually all I have. That's all I could manage to. I couldn't wrap it up, but anyway,
Yeah, the company store thing is super unethical, and it reminds me of, like, I'm trying to think of a modern day equivalent to that. What is it, like pyramid schemes, maybe, or maybe not pyramid schemes, but like subscription. You know, when you get like, by the way, go to our Patreon and sign up. Private Dix is on there. Private Dix is on there. I'll regale you with some tales of mystery, and we'll figure out what they do every single time. But yeah, subscription things where they give you a free month of something, and then you like forget about it, and then, you know what I mean, because you still have to sign up with your credit card, and you have like 6 months later, you're like, fuck, they got me. It reminds me kind of something like that, but I'm trying to think of a modern day equivalent to it. But they really kind of crack down on that kind of grifting, right? Would you say?
Business monopolies are so heavily like regulated now. I like the idea of a company town. It's like basically the modern day equivalent of the company town is Bountiful, BC. Okay. They have the wood mill that's there that all the boys work at, and it's all the Mormons that live within them, and they run the stores. That is basically the modern day equivalent, is like these cults or these religious, what are they called? Communes.
Yeah, I guess. Like, I wonder, like, on these towns, we didn't really does a commune have a sheriff? You know, do they have like a guy that goes around enforcing the rules, or is that just like the elder, the one like in charge of it all, just going like, you can't do that there, Johnny, that's my wife now. It's like, well, you have 6 already.
God is enforcing the rules there, right? But remember, like, the government got involved in shit, but they didn't have like a local police or anything like that. And they have like religious freedoms, right? Because of religion. So they're basically allowed to do more or less whatever they want, because the Canadian government is like, whoa, I don't want to touch that.
Yeah, you guys make your own town. We're making our own town over here of ripped away children from their parents. We don't have time for you. Yeah. No,
just stop with the human trafficking, okay, and do whatever you want.
Yeah. I don't really like the idea of the town. I like to be able to like live free, you know, like the town, like, by what I mean by that is, yes, without the indentured servitude part of it, it's kind of good. But at the same time, if you want to work somewhere and you can travel, I feel like that's better off. Like nowadays, if I want to work in crazy mine, like I could probably get a job most places now. I have enough experience, and you can get jobs. I can get a job in northern Manitoba, and they'll fly me there. They'll pay my flight. They'll pay my food. They'll pay my everything for the week, and then just send me home after. So I guess that's the modern equivalent, would be like a camp job, because they have camp jobs where that's all you do. You live on the fucking camp in little cabins. You get your internet at night, no drinking. They take away all your like substances if you're into substances at all. And they give you free internet, free cable, common areas to hang out with the workers till your shift's done, and then they fly you back out. And it's not a great life. I wouldn't want to do that. What else can I tell you about mining before we shut her down on this one?
Tell me something interesting, because I'm hoping I can edit this into not a pile of crap, because it felt like a pile of crap coming out of my mouth.
No, it's fine. There's a lot of me jambling on about safety, but I'm trying to think about like the culture now in Canada and the US. Maybe I should go with that. Is like, myself personally, and a lot of people I do know, want never to have an accident again. You know, there's been stuff that's happened in the recent years. Like, have you ever seen that mine that like blasted? They were underneath a lake, and it was like a salt mine, and they blasted so like right under the lake, and they emptied the lake into the mine. Have you ever seen that? It like swirled, like goodbye lake, gone. Yeah, that's a real thing.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's a real
on
thing.
Purpose?
No.
Oh
No.
shit.
No.
That's bad.
No. Bad news bears. But yeah, stuff still happens, and you hear about shit in different countries. Like I said, the little Chinese guy trying to escape his mine to die in the fucking desert. But I feel like in all, it's it's like the porn industry. Okay, I'm going to bring it to the porn industry. People be like, oh, that must be riddled with disease and stuff like that. In reality, probably a porn star is checked more often than the average person. They're probably the best person to fuck. You know what I mean? Like they'd probably be the least scary person. Like a sex worker would probably get tested all the time. And I feel like mining now, you could look at it and go like, it's really dangerous. But in Canada anyway, I shouldn't say anywhere else, but in Canada, we all know it's super dangerous and we all fight to keep it safer and safer. And there's been lots of legislation in Canada, or in Ontario specifically. There's what's called a green book. I don't know if you know what that is. It's like a occupational health and safety law. It's the laws of Canada, what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do in an underground environment. And every year they update it with more and more rules depending on the things that are coming up each and every year. And this stuff is law. Okay. And in our law, we have the right to refuse unsafe work. We have the right to know about unsafe work. We have the right to participate in training and stuff like that. These are rights that we have now that they didn't have so many years ago. And these things make a difference. Okay. It makes people feel empowered. It makes people understand what's going on around them. It keeps people informed, and then it keeps people safe just in general. We have thing in Ontario where you can make a worker-based committee that has a heavy influence on how your mine operates. They tell you, oh, this isn't right and that's not right. And you put it in writing through an email to management, and they have to respond to you within 21 days of that coming to them. There's a lot out there to keep the guys safe. And I don't think mining is as dangerous as it used to be. It's still dangerous if there's highballers trying to make their money and being silly and inexperienced, that kind of stuff. But I don't view it as the most dangerous job anymore. 100 years ago, sure, but now it's so regulated. I feel safe going to work. You know, is what I'm trying to say. I feel safe going to work. And I feel like if that's what we can get at, fucking get all the gold out of the ground, you know, go find it. I'll go get it.
It's no ice road trucking.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure.
Does Iroquois Falls have like a store?
Yes.
Do you shop at it or do you go somewhere else?
Well, we have 2 grocery stores that we'll go shop at. And we have like a dollar store, you know, it's called a bargain shop. I don't know if you have those out there. And we have like a Tim Hortons and a Subway. Those are the 2 only things, no McDonald's or anything. And that's about it. And I shop at all of them. I go to all of them, but yes, about an hour away is if I want to do like a big grocery, I'll go to Timmins, the close town, because it's just cheaper.
Sure, yeah, because you don't want to give all your money
To the company store.
You got
I
me.
can go.
Hey guys, thanks so much for listening. Head on over to our Facebook and
I'm
Instagram
straight
to
when it
join
comes
in
to
on the
humans,
conversations
but
about all things unethical.
Fucking gay
Just search
from all people.
Unethical Podcast. You can also find us on Patreon, where you can get access to all of our super awesome content, uncut videos of our discussions, and early release of all the episodes. We are adding fun stuff all the time, so you should definitely come and check it out. Thanks again. We appreciate all of you.